You're about to discover 10 TV shows so addictive that once you start, it's almost impossible to stop. These are not random recommendations. These are the shows people sit down to try and end up finishing in one day. And the best part is, I'll show you exactly where to watch each one. Welcome to Thinking to Quantum, where we make technology simple and help you get more from the platforms you already use. Let's get straight into it. Now let's talk about the 10th show on our list, the intriguing The Curse, available on Showtime and Paramount+. This is the kind of series that does not try to impress you immediately, but instead builds a feeling that slowly grows stronger over time. At first, everything seems normal, but there is always something slightly off in the way people talk, react, and interact with each other. As you continue watching, you begin to notice small details that feel out of place, creating a quiet tension that stays with you. The show does not give you clear answers, and that is exactly what makes it engaging. You start paying closer attention, trying to understand what is really happening beneath the surface, and once your mind becomes involved in that process, it becomes very difficult to stop watching. Now moving forward, let's talk about the 9th show on our list, True Detective Night Country, available on HBO Max. This series immediately places you in a cold and isolated environment where silence and darkness become part of the storytelling. From the very beginning, there is a strong sense that something is wrong, and that feeling never really disappears. The story develops slowly, revealing information piece by piece, which keeps your attention focused at all times. At the same time, the characters feel real and grounded, with personal struggles that add depth to the narrative. You are not just watching a mystery unfold, you are experiencing it alongside the characters, trying to understand both the events and the people involved. Now let's move into the 8th show on the list, The Intense the Bear, available on Hulu. This series places you inside a kitchen, but the way it presents that environment makes everything feel incredibly fast and demanding. Conversations overlap, decisions happen instantly, and the pressure never goes away. It feels chaotic, but also very real. What keeps you watching is not just the intensity, but the emotional connection you develop with the characters. You begin to understand their struggles, their responsibilities, and the challenges they face every day. That connection makes every moment more meaningful, and once you care about what happens to them, it becomes very difficult to stop watching. Now let's talk about the 7th show on our list, The Powerful Baby Reindeer, available on Netflix. This is a series that feels very close and very direct, placing you right inside the experience of the main character. There is no distance between you and the story, which makes everything feel more intense. You are never completely sure what will happen next, and that unpredictability keeps your attention locked in. Each episode adds emotional weight, building a story that feels both uncomfortable and deeply engaging. It is not always easy to watch, but it is incredibly compelling, and that combination keeps you going from one episode to the next. Now moving on to the 6th show on our list, The Surprising Fallout, available on Prime Video. This series creates a world that feels large, dynamic, and constantly changing, but it never loses focus on the characters. Even in a chaotic environment, you always have someone to follow and understand. The show balances action, humor, and emotional moments in a way that keeps everything fresh. Each episode introduces something new, expanding the story and keeping your curiosity active. You begin to want to explore more of that world, to understand how everything connects, and that curiosity is what keeps you watching. Now let's talk about the 5th show on the list, The Thought-Provoking Three-Body Problem, available on Netflix. This is a series that engages your mind as much as your attention. It introduces ideas that feel complex, but presents them in a way that keeps you interested rather than confused. As the story develops, new questions appear, and the answers come gradually, which keeps you thinking about what you are watching. That mental engagement becomes part of the experience. You are not just following the story, you are trying to understand it, and that makes it very difficult to stop. Now we move into the 4th show on our list, The Intense Industry, available on HBO Max. This series takes place in a high-pressure environment where every decision matters and every mistake has consequences. From the beginning, you feel the intensity of that world, and that tension stays with you. The characters are driven and constantly challenged, and as you follow them, you begin to understand their motivations, even when their decisions are not ideal. That understanding creates a connection, and that connection keeps you watching because you want to see how everything unfolds. Now let's move into the 3rd show on the list, The Emotional Adolescence, available on Netflix, although availability may vary depending on your region. This series focuses on growth, identity, and the challenges of navigating a changing world. The storytelling feels simple, but the emotions behind it are strong. You begin to relate to the characters and their experiences, and that creates a connection that keeps you engaged. You are not just watching events happen, you are experiencing them alongside the characters, and that makes it difficult to stop. Now we move into the second show on our list, the impressive Shogun, available on FX and Hulu. This is a series that builds its story carefully, focusing on detail and meaning. Every scene feels intentional, and every interaction carries weight. The pacing is slower, but that allows you to fully understand the relationships and decisions shaping the story. You find yourself paying attention to details, trying to understand motivations and strategies, and that level of engagement keeps you watching from beginning to end. And finally, let's talk about the number one show on our list, the remarkable Severance, available on Apple TV+. This series presents a concept that feels simple at first, but becomes deeper and more complex as the story progresses. From the beginning, there is a sense of mystery that continues to grow. Each episode reveals new information, but never everything at once, which creates a constant need to understand what is really happening. You begin to form theories, connect ideas, and pay attention to every detail. This turns the experience into something active, where you are not just watching, but thinking, and that is what makes it so hard to stop. And at this point, one thing becomes very clear: these are not the kind of shows you watch casually and forget the next day. These are the kind of shows you start, and before you realize it, you are already completely involved in the story, the characters, and everything that is happening around them. And that is exactly what makes them worth your time. Now, one important thing to keep in mind. All of these shows are available on their respective platforms at the time this video is being published, but availability can vary depending on your region, and streaming platforms can change their catalog over time. So if one of these caught your attention, it is always a good idea to check it sooner rather than later. Now I'm curious to know, which one are you going to start first? And more importantly, which one do you think you will end up finishing in just one day? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy discovering simple and practical ways to get more out of your streaming experience, make sure to subscribe to Thinking to Quantum. Because here, everything is about helping you watch more, spend less, and make smarter choices with the technology you already have.